I'm Douglas Preston. I have been an esthetician since 1981. Estheticians are always going to have acne counts. Always. So let's talk about the kind of acne that I'm referring to. So there's many different types, but congestive acne is typically the most common type you're going to see, whether or not there's any infection, right? It could just be a few little things here on the nose, or it could be everywhere, shoulders, back, chest, all of that, right? But when I'm saying congestive, if you've got a lesion, an inflamed follicle or a lesion, you have some plug in that hole. You take that out, the body starts to heal, right? Because now there's no food for the bacteria, oxygen has invaded it, and it reverses. The body treats it almost like a foreign object. It's trying to get it out. And that is what the pustule does. When a pustule breaks open, you have all of the infectious debris, the dead skin cells, and the comedone all comes out of there. It's an awful way to deal with it, but that's how the body does it. And it can leave scars. But that's its job. It's trying to get that out. So what happens? We do it for them, and the acne problem recedes, right? Okay. So it's the easiest type for us to get under control because we're not dealing with esoteric things in terms of, you know, the diet and influences and hormones and, you know, occupational pressures and all of these things. So I love treating that, and there is plenty of business for it. And your extraction skills are going to be key to controlling that. And the better you are at it, and the more you can get out, and the faster, the better your client will begin to clear up. Okay? Next one. Okay, so let's talk about the acne client. So we've got teenage, young adults, middle-aged, male, female. What do they all have in common? I touched on it earlier. They are emotionally motivated to deal with the problem. When we talk about why they're here, you think, well, you know, they have acne, right? But what's really going on? What are they actually responding to? Like I said, some people will have acne, or, you know, lots of blackheads, right? It doesn't bother them at all. They just have it. And, you know, people can have other things too that doesn't bother them that you might wish they'd deal with. But what they are actually dealing with is the emotional response to the visual cues. And you know how it is, you know, before like prom, and you got that one pimple. It's a catastrophe, right? But, and somebody else will say, oh God, come off it, right? Just cover it up, whatever. No, it's a crisis. You have to see a therapist. So the severity of the emotion depends on the individual, right? Just like in plastic surgery. If you don't like what you see, and what I'm saying is don't like, right? It doesn't bother you, you're fine. If you don't like it, you might seek some kind of corrections for that. And why do you want to get a correction? So you don't feel bad about it anymore. We are, as estheticians, we are in the emotions business. That's what we sell. We sell feelings. And positive feelings at that, right? When I ran my day spa, my mission to my estheticians, I said, you only have one job here, and that's to send the client out feeling better than they did when they came in. I don't care how you do it as long as it's legal. And please don't give away a lot of free facials. But that was it, because that's why they came. And when you look at your reviews, a lot of it's talking about how they feel. She was so wonderful. She talked to me. He explained everything to me. Made me feel cared for. Feel. Feeling is what we sell. And therefore, when you're talking to a new client, feeling is where you want to get to in the consult. Because it's the motivator, right? It's the motivator. And if you're trying to build a business, you want to tap into the thing that makes people most gratified emotionally. I learned this early on in my profession, and it was really helpful because when I first started out as an esthetician, I didn't know a damn thing. The beauty school I went to was, I mean, it was primitive. Is that beauty school or automotive repair? What are we doing? Didn't seem much different. It was bad. So what I tried to do was to entertain my clients out of noticing the fact that I didn't really know much of anything. And they loved it. And they kept coming back. And I'm thinking, what are they coming back for? Oh, that guy, he's just so much fun to visit with. If it sells, you have to make a living, right? So they're motivated because of embarrassment. That's not a good feeling. Social stigma and rejection, humiliation. You know, when you're a guy and you're only this tall and you've got a lot of acne, that's going to have a profound impact on your self-esteem for years. And then if it leaves scars, it's all worse. Negative influences on relationships, self-esteem and confidence, and being accepted by people. Poor kids with acne, it's, you know, in schools, you know, they're hammered, and it really affects them. And it's been proven through studies that people who had acne in their teens perform less successfully in life later because their self-esteem has been diminished. And they don't have the confidence to present themselves the way they'd like to. They still see the acne even though it's gone. It's called a phantom condition. It's still there, but it isn't. Next slide. So why emotions are important here. So again, it's not how we look that drives us to seek change, but how we feel about how we look. Therefore, in a consultation, I'm going to be talking emotions, all right? And you're going to be my client in just a moment. So some people will have breakouts and yet do nothing about it. Others will respond dramatically, even with a small pimple. So, and oftentimes, now here's the interesting thing. When you have teens, and any of you work with them, many times the parent brings in the child because the parent is having a problem with how the child looks and is imposing that on the child. Here's Billy, right, sitting here with his hat turned around, staring down, sprawled out, and she's just like, you know, this acne is such a problem. And he's like, Mom, I don't really care. And he doesn't. She cares. So who's the customer? Mom. So you appeal to her. And good luck getting Billy to follow through on his home care, right? And in fact, if he doesn't, it's all the better for you in the long run, as long as they keep coming in. It's like, hey, and the mother will say, tell him to use his products. I said, okay, Billy, use the products. See if anything happens. And he's like, whatever, dude. The same is true for aging skin. So where there's a high negative emotion, there's business for the esthetician. How many people, when you talk to them and they come in for anti-aging treatments, you'd say, okay, what are you noticing about your skin? Almost always, well, the biggest part is people talk about their skin as dull. Well, it just looks so dull. And we all know what that means. It's got a buildup of dead skin cells, right? This is where peels come in and exfoliation at home. Because it's like table dust. You dust it off, things brighten. And that's what dead skin is. And that's what your household dust is. It was here and now it's there. You wipe it off, you see the color of the table again. Beautiful, right? Same thing. You exfoliate that skin, get all that dead, dry skin off, and you've got color and you have luster. And then when you hydrate that, oh, beautiful, right? It's like polish. Okay, it's a visual thing. We know what to do with that. So it is the reaction to acne that we're treating, and because that is what's most needed in improvement. And some of the kids that I treated would come in and they just had their head hanging down. And I don't have that slide in here, but one boy I treated, I mean, he was almost a monster. His face was so bad. And he didn't even want to treat it. And we did. But his self-esteem came up, and I've seen that with so many kids. And they just feel good, and they become attached to you because now they associate you with this new feeling. And that's really just, it's lovely. So gratifying. And there's good money in it. And by the way, I'm going to make a confession to you right now because I like to talk about money because I'm in this profession to make money. People say, well, you must have a real passion for skincare. I don't. Most people will say that. What got you into skincare? Well, I have a real passion for it. I don't have a passion for it. I have a passion for making money. And skincare is how I like to make it. It doesn't matter if you have a passion for it or not, but if you have an interest, that's pretty good. Don't be afraid of it, because money is the only thing that keeps us in business, right? So I make money, number one, so I can do number two. That's it, straight up. And I'm damn good at it. Both skin and earning a good living, right? Because I make them equally important. Well, actually, I'll put the money up a little. That's how it works. So aesthetic acne treatments as an alternative to medical solutions. So here's our advantage. Let me have that next slide. Thank you so much, Monique. First of all, people come to me, right? They bring their kids in, they come in for themselves, and they've been to a dermatologist, and I said, what did you learn from them? And they're like, go to the pharmacy. I do the dermatologist work with them all the time. I educate people on their condition. Up to and including telling somebody, I can't help you. And there are various reasons for that, and we would go into that in another class. And that's being honest, and they appreciate it, because people want to be told the truth, and we should be doing that, even if it costs you. That's just the right thing to do. I think most of us have some ethics, right? Yeah. We have time. So when I'm doing my first appointment with an acne client and an age management client, we're going to talk a while. So I sit down with you and I ask you questions about you. And one of the great questions to ask somebody is, let's talk about why you're here, okay? So if you could tell me one thing about your skin that you'd like to see either improve or just stay the way it is or not get any worse, what would you say that thing is? What do you see first?
Usually I would get some pigmentation on the side of my cheeks.
Okay, pigmentation on the side of the cheeks?
A hyperpig, and then like some PIE.
Yeah, okay, you're talking like an esthetician now.
Yeah, like a little bit of like, I noticed.
Some redness. And,
yeah, some
okay.
redness in it, splotchiness.
Yeah. Remember how clients describe things, they're not technical, right? So I'd say, okay. So Madison, so you're saying that you're seeing this. So when you get up in the morning, right, you look in the mirror and there it is, that pigmentation, that redness. How do you feel about that?
Makes me feel like, oh, am I doing something, like not using enough protection? Am I not?
That's the wrong answer.
Okay.
That's a technical answer.
Okay, yeah.
Estheticians always talk technical, clients don't.
Okay, true.
How do you feel when you see that?
It makes me feel like, oh, like, are other people noticing it? And it makes me feel a little down, I suppose.
Makes her feel a little down. Okay, that's the problem, right? Not, am I doing the right procedure? Let's assume you are. Now how do you feel? Feeling, get to the feeling. So it makes you feel a little down. Write this down. These are the motivators, because we're coming back to that. And how about anything else?
I think it puts maybe like a fear factor as like, is it going to continue to spread?
No, any other condition.
Oh, any other condition?
And don't offer him any.
Yeah. No, I mean, I will say genetics are definitely play a good role on my skin, but
Okay.
yeah, otherwise it's pigmentation aspect.
All right, so she's saying pigmentation and it kind of brings her down, all right? Okay. So the pigmentation is the thing that leads to a down feeling. What do you think she would prefer to feel? Happy, good, right? Just the opposite. Okay, so Madison, and this is towards the end of the consult, I think I can address what's going on with you. We may not be able to clear it up completely, but I bet we can have a nice improvement on that. So if we can make that look better, doing what I will suggest for you, would that make you feel better?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the energy comes up. So now what you've done, see, you've addressed the real problem, and then you have offered treatment hope in terms of emotional benefits. Got that? Never forget this, guys. This is gold if you do this. Get your technology out of your console. Get the emotion in. Because they don't want to know about all that. When I ask people, for example, have you ever had a facial treatment in the past that you really liked? Another one of the questions. Yes, okay, tell me about it, right? And I'm writing this down. Tell me what it was like. And they talk about, it felt good, it smelled good, I felt so relaxed, it was private. You know, it just seemed like, you know, I was floating on a cloud. They never mentioned the Zemetz machine. And of course, that's a good thing, right? Our technology is important. They just talk about how they felt. Focus on that. Well, okay, well, we're going to do a treatment today. Well, one thing I want you to know, having a treatment with me is like no one else. You're going to really have a nice time in there. It's relaxing and comfortable, and you're going to feel great. And she's smiling because that's really what she wants. And when you know this and you make it a big part of what you do, then you're on the wavelength of the customer. Because you go out to the trade floor, it's all technology, it's all patented this and, you know, tech and micronized that, right? Okay, that's great for the manufacturer, and it makes you feel good because it makes you feel like you know more. Client doesn't give a damn. Not really. They just want to look better so they'll feel better, and you know how to do it. So lovely. So we have the time to do that. We have the education, and we have the empathy, right? And empathy comes from shared emotions. Would that be right? Now, just like having you in this room, I could be standing up here droning away in a monotone. Who wants to sit for that, man? I don't like podiums. Just go away. So let's talk about the income potential. Well, at my skin center, before I retired, acne treatment for 45 minutes and $185. No frills. And oftentimes it was cleanse, exfoliate, extract like crazy, tone, hydrator, benzoyl peroxide, a little high frequency, and you're out. See you in a week. Because in congestive acne, extracting embedded debris is the most important thing you can do in that treatment. The more you can take out, the less there is for acne bacteria to deal with. That's how you clear it out. And of course, if it's not inflamed, then they just look better through the mere fact that the sebaceous plugs aren't there anymore. And if it's closed comedones, you know it creates a really strange contour on the face. So it doesn't look good. So, now I didn't accept gratuities in my acne treatments because people refer to me more in a medical way. I can't tell you how many call me doctor. I'm like, I'm not a doctor. Please don't call me that. And somehow Yelp got me mixed up with the best local dermatologists. People calling me and say, yeah, I have this thing I need to have removed from my skin. It's like, oh no, man. I'd like to do it, but... So I wanted, but you know, where I was, sometimes whole families were coming to me for these treatments. It's pricey. And I'm talking Silicon Valley, right? I mean, everybody's wealthy there, right? And so, but still, people, you know, they're discerning about how they spend their money. So I kind of liked the dignified presentation of saying, I'm doing this as a health benefit, and you know, you don't have to pass me another $20. Anti-aging? Oh yeah. Lay it on. So 185 times 5 appointments, if you want to do a light day, is $925. It's easy to do more. And there's your total with retail. So retail would easily be about 30% of your appointments. And so that'd be $55.50 a visit. And that to me is just one bottle of benzoyl peroxide. And we're always going through this heavily if you're using it at all. So $1,202 for 5 appointments. And the best thing is the material expense is low. You don't need a lot of machinery. You don't need all kinds of exotic masks and things like that. It's pretty straightforward. So the material cost is low, the benefits are high, the time compression is awesome. It's a good business to be in. And the gratification's lovely. And people refer to you. Moms refer to you, because they know moms. It's really quite nice. So the addition of adding the benefits of adding this in is the frequency of acne client visits are often higher than age management, and they go on for a longer period of time. I'd see the boy I was telling you about, who I corrected, and if you ever come to me personally, I'll show you those pictures. 2 years with weekly visits just to get him clear. 2 years. And another girl that I was working with, same thing, 2 years, every week. That's a lot of business. That's how motivated they are. Parents of teenage clients may become interested in your age management treatments because I usually have them sitting in my room. First time, always they have to be there. Right? Teenager, especially a female. Right? I do not want to be in that alone in that room with her. I want a parent there. And so I require it. But after a while, they start taking an interest. And then when I'm starting to do extraction work, I call mom or dad over. I say, come up here. I want you to see what I'm doing to your child. Right? Have a look at this. And they're fascinated by it. Ability to offer online virtual acne consultations. There are some people who are doing really, really well with that. We talked to someone last night. I never particularly cared to do it because I got enough to do, but brilliant. And a deep sense of professional satisfaction when you're witnessing these improvements. Gosh, it feels so good. And clients come to love you for that. Monique? Okay, so a client consultation, your key to success. First and foremost, build client comfort and confidence in them. Sit down with them, talk to them, get to know them, especially teenage boys who are spooked by this whole thing. Make them feel good, right? Because you're going to be in there with an extractor. You want them to feel pretty good about it before you do that. Make the client feel understood and cared for. Listen. That's one of the complaints I hear all the time. The esthetician just kind of rushed through the treatment. She really didn't ask me any questions. No. Not even on a cruise ship. You should know who you're working with, so you know what to do, right? You know, it's not like it's, a doll head, right, in beauty school. There's a whole body there, right, and a functioning brain. And so we need to know about that. Learning about the client's feelings, as I said, their lifestyle, personal care and dietary habits, of course, because they're influential. Information about what to expect in treatments, tell them about that. Visit frequency and home care. And I'm going to tell you up front, we're going to talk about that at the end, okay? Because part of my consultation says, so I'm writing it down, I see what you've been using at home, great. I'm glad you have a routine. But now that you're working with me, I'll probably suggest changes in the way you take care of your skin at home. Would that be okay with you? They always say yes. That's your sale, right there. So you don't have to be scared of it at the end, right? You put the 6 products up and then you run, and then the front desk person goes, I don't know what these are. No, you manage the whole system, right? Because that's our job. That is our moral obligation, not for them to buy, but for us to give them the option to decide whether or not they want to buy it. And that's where the sale happens, in the customer's head, not in us. We're just showing them something they might want. Real quickly, yes?
Real quick, how much time do you allot for this intake process?
About 15 minutes. Yeah, but it's a good one. And by the way, okay, I'm going to sell you on this one. If you go to Preston Acne Pros online and look at my store, you will see a very reasonable video. It's a class called the Client Consult. It's the best thing you can ever buy, other than my instructor. And it will walk you through this whole process. It's so cool. And for those of you who are pretty new in this, it'll make you seem like you've been in this for 20 years. Is that good? He says. And then finally, a realistic explanation about what to expect from aesthetics care. So if you say, how long will it take me to clear this up? I cannot tell you that. But I will tell you this, if you come to me and you follow my program, I think we're going to see some nice results. I would love to be able to tell you that everybody's different, okay? So that's the honest truth. Make no promises. But based on your experience or what you think your tools can do, indicate that. Planning your treatment program, you know the client's condition and what needs to be done. Now it's time to prescribe the correct program. You need to do that. And don't worry about prices or anything like that. Remember, people aren't court ordered to come into our practices. They're there because they want to be there. And if they want what we're doing, they'll usually want the products that you have, okay? Products are your hands outside the treatment room. That's where you're working in their house that way. It's the only thing we can do. What to do, how often, what to expect, and realistic progress should be part of that. Home care is the other part. So let's get it on the calendar for them to come back, and a post-treatment follow-up call, which you should always do with every new customer. Call them. First of all, I'm going to tell you, Trinity, that now that we've done this treatment today, I'd like to call you in about 2 days to see how things went. Would that be all right with you?
That'd be fine.
Okay, fantastic. I won't take a lot of your time, and I'll leave a voicemail if you can't answer. And you can call me back if you need to, okay? But it really matters to me to know how what I've done has working for you. Would that be all right?
No, that'd
Okay, they love that call. I've never had anyone say, yeah, you're kind of bothering me, or why are you calling me? They love it. Don't forget to do it. Because then it's a bad thing. Okay? All right. Boy, I'm right on time here. Please, I will be going to the Face Reality booth out there. By the way, has this been helpful for you guys? Yes. All right, this work good enough? You sure? All right, please tell the show, right, if they ask you. That's why I get to come back. And don't just say the guy's kind of funny. But hey, if it fills the room, they'll charge you for it. But I want to hear, I think I've tried to build a good case for going into acne with realistic expectations, because these are it. And it takes a lot of the fear away and the mystery and all of that comes with not knowing what to do. And there's a lot more education you can get along this, and if I can be more help to you through my own programs, I'm happy to do that, okay? All right, well, I want to thank you all for being here, and then I will be happy to see you at the Face Reality booth. I'll be hanging out there with a cup of coffee, and I'll be talking to y'all. Thank you.